Once upon a time, there lived a man named Mazi Ugo. Ugo's best friend was Ikenna. Ikenna was from a neighboring kingdom called Arochukwu. They were the Aro people. During this time, the Aro kingdom was a very powerful kingdom. The kingdom had a very extensive trade system. One of such trade was the slave trade. The kingdom worked with the Abam warriors to extend their slave trade. Ugo, on the other hand, was from a village called Mbise. Mbise means clan 5 or land 5. The Mbise people were made up of 5 clans: Abaja, Ahera, Ekwerazu, Ezinite, and Okevuru. Today, these clans are known as Abombise, Aherazu Mbise, and Ezinite Mbise. Each clan had an elder as a representative of all 5 clans, and no decision on action would be taken if all clans did not agree. Both Mbise and the Aro kingdom were part of the Igbo kingdom. Unlike other kingdoms, not one king ruled over all of the Igbo people. The Igbo people practiced at that time what is now called a democratic rule, where every elder of a clan had a voice. His concerns and decisions mattered and were taken into account. And unless everyone came to one agreement, or at the very least, majority came to an agreement, no action was taken. Like many others in Mbise, Ugo was a very wealthy farmer. His primary farm produce was yam and palm oil. There was so much yam from the soil that Mbise people worshipped the god of yam. And every yam harvest, they will hold a yam festival, thanking the god for blessing them. Although the Mbise people worshipped many gods, such as the yam god, they believed that there was only one divine traitor, the one who gives life. Now, for a man to have many hands helping him on the farm, he had to have many children. So the Mbise women were known to have anything from 10 to 20 children. Ugo and his wife, Nkechi, had 15 children, 14 boys and 1 girl. Her name was Adaeze. She was the light in her family. She was the baby, the one everyone protected. Because Nkechi had more than 10 children, she was part of the Nguku Women's Group. This group was for women who had more than 10 children. They were recognized as women of strength and caliber. One day, Ikenna visited his friend Ugo. Nna, you have to be very careful. Make sure you protect your family from all these Abam warriors. Ah, what do you mean? Ugo asked. Have you not heard? Ikenna said. The Aro leader, Okoli, has instructed the Abam warriors to conduct raids and kidnap people for slavery. What do you mean by that? Ugo said. Only criminals were sold into slavery. You know, some people were not made to be slaves. That is against the law. Not just in Mbise, but in your own kingdom as well. I've told you. Don't say I did not warn you. They say that there are white evil spirits in the coast. Those spirits pay high sums of money for these slaves. And you know my people, they like too much money. The money that they get from this slave trade is not here. I've warned you. Anyway, I'm going. Ugo told his father what he had heard. Ugo's father told his own father. His own father told his own father. Mazi Nduka was the great-grandfather of Ugo's family. He was the oldest man. So he told the other clan members during their monthly meeting what his grandson, Ugo, had told them. But what type of greed is this? Some members said. We give them those amongst us who have committed the most atrocities like murder, rape, and incest. Those ones should not live amongst decent people, so they can be sold into slavery. Why then take innocent people? I heard the same thing, another member said. He explained that the king of Inri, from the Inri kingdom, who was an Ezemo, had even begged Okoli, the Aro leader, to stop this slave trade. The king was so sad that innocent people had been taken away from their homes, not just from his own kingdom, but from other parts of Igbo land. He begged Okoli to stop, but Okoli refused. And so the king ordered his people to kill any Aro person freely. He used his spiritual powers to kill any Aro people that entered into his land. Kill? But to kill your fellow man is an abomination, one of the members said. Why would he do that? My friend, will you shut up? Another member said. They are telling you that these Abam warriors and Okoli are selling our people to these white spirits as slaves, taking them to where we do not know. And you're saying, why now? Thunder strike you there. As for me and my clan, none of our people will be sold into slavery except that person committed the highest abomination. Otherwise, I do not see why our children should be taken away. Yes, I agree with you, another member said. But how can we defend ourselves from these Abam warriors? They are very strong in military combat. I heard their swords are soaked with spiritual powers. Another member said, we will do like the Enugu people. What do you mean by that? Some asked. Because we trade and share boundary with the Aro people, we cannot just wage war against them. Instead, we will do like the Enugu people and ask our Ezemo to poison their path. That is very interesting. And so they called the Ezemo. The Ezemo, using his divine powers, poisoned the water, the land, and the air. Now, anytime an Abam warrior passes through Mbise, the warrior dies. Where an Mbise person could drink water from the stream and be fine, the Abam warriors would drink that same water and die. In so doing, they did not lose their people to slavery, except, of course, for those who had committed evil acts. Those ones were sold into slavery. And if they wanted to escape the slavery and run to the shrine of the gods, they would become Osu outcasts. This went on for many years. During this time, Ugo's second son, Aguna, was set to marry. He was set to marry Chinelu. She was one of the most beautiful girls in the village. Although she had many suitors, she loved only Aguna. He loved her and made her feel safe, she said. The night before their wedding, Aguna came to see her. He brought tubers of yam and bushmeat, a delicacy that Chinelo really liked. On the day of the wedding day, Chinelo was so happy. Her family was going around the house preparing for the day in anticipation of Aguna's arrival. However, they waited and waited and waited, but Aguna never showed up. Chinelo was very sad and upset. What could have happened? She asked. As her brothers were set to go in search of Aguna, they saw his father and other brothers coming to the compound. Where is my son? Ugo shouted. What do you mean, Mazi Ugo? Chinelo's family asked. We should be asking you that. Where is Aguna? How can he disgrace our daughter like this? What rubbish. Our son left to see Chinelo last night, and since then he has not returned. You better bring him out. This is not a joke. Eh? What? They said. But Chinelo did confirm that Aguna came to see her last night. Some of her brothers had even seen him. But they saw him leave. He left. They thought he went home. Well, he's not home. But he's not home, Ugo said. He never came back home. Where is he? They all searched for Aguna, but he was never found. Chinelo's family thought that Aguna ran away because he did not want to marry their daughter anymore. Meanwhile, Mazi Ugo's family believed that Chinelo's family had sold Aguna into slavery. They took the matter before the elders of Mbise, but without Aguna's body, they did not know what to do. They had to investigate. Ugo was very sad. He was very close with all his children. He had 15 of them, but he loved every one of them. Aguna was one of his strongest and brightest. What could have happened to him? One day, as Ugo was organizing men to help him search for his son, his friend Ikenna ran to him. Ugo, you will not believe what I have seen. Come, let's go. Look, Ikenna, this is not time for this nonsense. My son has gone missing and I'm looking for him. Yes, that is why I am here, Ikenna said. I saw Ugonna with my 2 eyes. He was with slaves that the Aban warriors had taken. What? Slaves, my son? How? The Ezemo had used his powers to protect our people from these Aban warriors. How were they able to get my son? This is not what is important now, Ikenna said. We need to first of all free him from the slave traders before they take him to the white men. Let us move fast now. Ikenna knew all of this because he was, after all, an Aro man. The Aro leading slave trader lived in the Aro kingdom, and he worked closely with the Aban warriors to take slaves. There was an understanding that no Aro person would be sold into slavery. But every other Igbo person was up for grabs. Ikenna led Ugo to where his son was held captive. With the help of his kingsmen, Ugo fought the Aban warriors to free his son. This was possible because one Mbise man can have 60 sons under his belt. Ugo had many brothers, and all his brothers had many wives and sons. Once free, Aguna explained to his family that fateful night, on his way back home from leaving Chinelo's house, some men had attacked him and took him away. It was as if they had been following him for some time. Are you saying that they targeted you? Ugo asked. Yes, father. Ugo then turned to the Aban warriors who were still alive. Talk now, and I will spare your manhood. Then one of the warriors explained that a man from Mbise was the one who had paid them to take Aguna as a slave. The man wanted to get rid of Aguna. Ikenna was so surprised. He turned to Ugo. Is he saying that one of your own people sold Aguna into slavery? Is this what this man is telling us now? Ugo himself was surprised. This type of atrocity had never happened in his land. He could not say anything. It was Ugo's brother that asked the warriors to describe the man. The warriors only said that the man had a scar on his right ear. They gave Ugo's brother the gold ring that the man had paid them to get rid of Aguna. Ugo and his family left. Once Chinelo heard that her beloved Aguna had been rescued, she ran to his compound. She was so overjoyed that he was still alive, and Aguna was happy to see her. Aguna's father, Mazi Ugo, explained to Chinelo's parents what had happened to his son, Aguna. Everyone was so shocked but happy that he survived. Thank the gods that Ikenna had been able to identify him. The question now is, who was the man that sold Aguna into slavery? As they spoke about the man, his scar, and his ring, Chinelo began to go cold. Please let me see the ring, she said. Surprised, Mazi Ugo showed her the ring. Chinelo then began to cry and shout at the same time. Nkem, what is it? Aguna said. Why are you so troubled? He was so sad to see his beloved upset. It is him, Mama, she shouted. It is him. Who? Chinelo's mother asked. It's Chibuzo, the man I told you that I rejected his proposal for Aguna's own. Chinelo explained that she never liked Chibuzo, although he was one of her suitors. She never felt safe when he was around. She kept telling him that she loved Aguna and plans were underway for her to marry him, but Chibuzo refused to listen to her. One day when she was alone, he tried to attack her and take her virginity, but she attacked him as a lioness that she is. In the tussle, she had left a scar on his ear. His ring had fallen off from his hand, and that is when she took a good look at it. This is the ring, she said. Chibuzo was quickly arrested, and he confessed to all what Chinelo had said. He wanted to get rid of Aguna so that he could have Chinelo all to himself. Once he confessed, it was decided that he would be sold into slavery. Aguna and Chinelo became husband and wife. Now, news had reached the Mbise people of how the white spirits were taking over parts of the coast in order to control the Igbo land and impose taxes after slavery had been stopped. That meant a farmer who usually got 100% profit of all his yams would only get 40%. Ugo did not like this. He was a very wealthy farmer and he had many yam barns. What is this rubbish? How can a foreigner come and take our people? They said. And then in the next clan meeting, this was what everyone was talking about. They had heard of the white spirit named Douglas. Douglas was a very ruthless person. He had killed many Igbo people so that he could take over their land. What can we do? One member asked. We have so many yams and palm oil plantations here, and this is what they're after. What can we do? Another member said their main target would be the Aro Kingdom. The Aro Kingdom was the seat of trade. With the help of the gods, they would not see us. But still, we have to put our strong men around our border to keep watch, another member said. That night, Ugo met with his friend Ikenna. I'm afraid though, Ikenna said. They too had also heard about Douglas, the ruthless man. He killed anyone in his path. What will he do to us? Ikenna asked. Nothing will happen, Ugo said. The gods will protect us. We will fight. At this time, no one in all of the Igbo land wanted to be enslaved. They did not want to be colonized. The next day, Ugo's seventh son and other young men were on patrol. They were to keep watch against threat. As they kept watch, from nowhere, they saw what looked like a white spirit on a horse that they had never seen before. The being seemed to just pass by. At first, they could not understand what they were looking at. Throughout the slave trade, the Mbise people had never come across the British people, so they did not know what they looked like. They had only heard stories from the coast. Thinking that what they were seeing was Douglas, the ruthless man who had killed many Igbo people, they jumped him and attacked him. But before they could kill the man, the white man wrote a note saying that it was the Mbise people who had killed him. They cut him into different parts and hung his horse on a tree. They had done this so that the horse would not go back and inform other spirits. The Mbise people were happy. Finally, they had killed the enemy. Now, it had been days since the good doctor had left for the Aro Kingdom, Douglas said. Douglas planned to take over the kingdom and kill those who refused to submit to the British rule. He had sent the good doctor to go and investigate, but it had been weeks now and he was not yet back. Fearing the worst, he assembled his men to search for the doctor. They followed his trail and found the papers that he had left as clues explaining what route he took. And that's when they came upon his last note, explaining that he had gotten lost and came upon the Mbise people. they were the ones that killed him. Douglas was enraged. How could these barbarians kill this doctor? The following day, Ugo was in his house with his children when a man ran into their compound shouting, "Mazi Ugo, Mazi Ugo," he shouted, "They have killed your son. They have killed them." "Killed who?" Ugo said. "The boys that were patrolling the border, they have killed them all." "What?" Ugo shouted. Before they could react, Douglas and 1,000 British men were shooting people left, right, and center. They were like flies. "Also, run, run!" people screamed. Ugo saw people dropping dead like flies. By this time, 10 of his sons had been killed. The massacre was bloody. Ugo then turned to Adaeze, his daughter. At this time, she was very petite and could go unnoticed. He told her to run all the way to the Aro Kingdom and call for help. Adaeze was crying. She could not hear what her father was saying. Her brothers had just been killed and a bullet had hit her mother. "Why?" she cried. "Why are they doing this to us, Papa? Listen to me, Ada. Listen," he shouted. "Run to Aro. Run to the Aro Kingdom. Go to my friend Ikenna and tell him what has happened. They should send help." As if coming back to her senses, Ada ran to the Aro Kingdom. It would usually take a whole day to get there, but Ada ran with all her might, using all the shortcuts she knew. Although the Aro Kingdom was part of the slave trade, they valued the agricultural products, and most of that came from the Mbise land. The Mbise people had the yams and the palm oil, which made a large portion of the trade. Ugo was banking on the fact that if not for nothing else, the Aro Kingdom would come to their aid simply to protect the land. Adaeze made it to the Aro Kingdom. She was tired and thirsty, but she did not care. She ran straight to Ikenna's house, screaming and shouting, "Please help us. Help us, they're killing our people." Back on the battlefield, Ugo had picked up a cutlass and was killing as many of the British people as he could. But from nowhere, a bullet struck him in his back. He fell down and collapsed. At that very moment, from nowhere, Ikenna, his friend, appeared by his side. "Ugo," he shouted. "Ugo, I am here." Ugo looked up and he saw the Aro people fight off the British men. The British people, seeing that they were outnumbered, ran away. The Aro people had used all the shortcuts to get to the Mbise people as fast as they could. By his side were his remaining sons, Adaeze, his daughter. Ugo turned to Ikenna and said, "Please take care of these children for me, Ikenna." Ugo had said this because he had lost many of his family members that day, and he did not know who had survived. All he knew was that his hour had come. And just like that, Ugo went with his ancestors. This was not the last time that the British people attacked the Mbise people. Douglas told all who listened that the Mbise people were evil barbarians. They had killed the good doctor and had eaten his flesh. He said this because no one could find the doctor's body anywhere. After everywhere had settled, Aguna, Ugo's second son, and his pregnant wife Chinelu were able to survive the first attack. They, like others, started to rebuild their homes. Adaeze and her remaining brothers lived together in their father's compound. I want to thank everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I truly appreciate the love and support. I started this channel for this type of stories, to give us a picture of the past lives of our ancestors and how they were able to live every day before during, and after the British rule. As Africans, it is important that we tell our own stories. This story now is a combination of fiction and fact. It is a fact that in the southeast of Nigeria, there is a tribe called the Igbo tribe. The Igbo people are also known as Biafrans. This is a name that was given to them by the Portuguese people. It is a fact that in the Igbo tribe, there is a clan called the Mbise people. The Mbise people did not come across the British people until later on. So they actually did not know what they looked like, had however heard about Douglas. Douglas was the man that was put in charge of southeast of Nigeria by the British monarch. They killed the doctor thinking that they had killed Douglas. The Mbise people, like many other Igbos, did not like the idea of being enslaved and controlled by the British people, and so they fought against the colonization of their people. It had to take 5 different attempts before the British people could take over the land. And that is why to this day, people will say that the British people and the Igbo people never got along. The doctor did leave notes on his way, and that's how Douglas knew of what had happened to him. Because Douglas told everyone that the Mbise people had killed the doctor and ate his flesh, people began to become afraid of them. Douglas told the British monarch that the Mbise people were evil barbarians and were very dangerous. To this day, there are some Nigerians that still believe that. But all the Mbise people ever wanted was to protect their people. That was something that the Ethiopia people did as well. They were able to fight against the colonization of their people, and they succeeded. Not many African tribes did. The Mbise people were just like every other person. All they wanted to do was to protect their own. They had their own system of economic trade, their own religion, and their own system of government, and they flourished in their farm businesses. It is said that Mbise is the Ireland of Africa because many priests come from many Mbise families. This is because Mbise women at that time did in fact have 10 to 20 children. When the Catholic missionaries came, a family could have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Catholic priests and reverend sisters from one family. I want to thank everyone for listening. Please subscribe, share, and like. Leave a comment sharing your own African origins and how your people came to be today. Until next time, goodbye. Because we trade with the Arab people, they are a close. Because we trade and share a brown.